Welcome back to Game Talk from the Bench. I'm your host, Drew Barreto. Today I'm here with my filling in for my co-host, my Uncle Joe. Today we're covering a lot. We got NFL, we got the draft coming up. Some big news surrounding quarterback extension, as well as a veteran tight end not wanting to end off an ACL tear, and defensive end saying that one of the best quarterbacks in the league is figured out, but another top quarterback isn't. So we're getting to that in the NBA. We got playing games starting today. Today's Tuesday. Episode's out Wednesday, so you'll see the scores. But playing games, and we got some of the first round matchups set. So we'll get into our predictions for that, as well as who we think's going for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and awards like that. In the MLB, we'll give you our weekly standings update and some big injury news. And to end us off, we'll talk a little bit about some hockey and our local team whose future is pretty bright. But to start us off in the NFL, next Thursday, today, you'll see this episode Wednesday the 15th, but Thursday, April 23rd is the NFL draft. We all know it's been really anticipated. It's in Pittsburgh. Raiders have the first overall pick. We know it's going to be Fernando Mendoza. So that's very interesting. Obviously big news coming out of the draft. Will teams trade up? I know I've seen talks about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys potentially trading up, but we'll see come draft day. But that's just a reminder for everyone there. But in the NFL, Zach Ertz, longtime Eagle, has been a Commander as recent. He doesn't want an ACL injury from 2025 to be his final play. I believe he's talked to Howie Roseman from the Eagles, and he wants to play. He wants to play another season. The past 2 seasons in Washington, he's caught 50 passes for 504 yards and 4 touchdowns in 13 games. But that's going to be tough. He's probably not going to be, starter of any team he goes to. Like I said, he's up there in age, coming off an ACL. It's honestly, kind of unlikely that he doesn't get signed elsewhere. I mean, I don't know most teams. Obviously, he's a great veteran, right? Been in the league a long time. But like I said, coming off an ACL tear, he's up there in age. I don't know. I think the only team that gives him a shot it's the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that. I think that there is going to be some teams interested in him because, like you said, he's had a great career. He's a veteran presence. So, there might be a team, like a young team like Carolina, that could help out Carolina over there, with their young quarterback over there. So that would definitely help them. There's also a couple other teams I was thinking about as well, like maybe the Browns, the Bengals. There's teams that can always use a veteran tight end. It's just a matter of where and like how much money he wants. And like you said, he's not going to be a starter. It's just not going to happen. I don't see him being a starter anywhere in the league. But I mean, he could definitely, help another team out. Where I could see him going and landing where it would be good for him is Kansas City and just back up Kelsey.
Travis.
Yeah, Travis. So that's where I could see him going, where they wouldn't expect too much from him. He could still produce. You never know. He might even produce maybe a little bit more than Kelsey. Kelsey had a bad year. I'm not saying he's going to have a horrible year this year, but, it's the NFL. Anything can happen in the NFL, so we'll see what happens. I would think that Carolina would be interested in someone like that to help out their young quarterback over there. Is it Cam Ward?
Bryce Young. In Carolina, Bryce Young. Or are you thinking of Tennessee?
Oh, Tennessee. I'm sorry. Tennessee. Yes. Yeah, Tennessee
Cam
or
Ward,
even
yeah.
Carolina. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. One of those. Yeah. Either of those teams could definitely use him as either a backup tight end or, just like I said, leadership in the locker room.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we said, he's got a great presence, been in the league a long time. Could definitely help a young team like that, like you said, Tennessee Titans, Carolina Panthers. But we'll see, like I said, come off the ACL tear. Teams aren't in a rush to sign him. They got to make sure he's healthy to start the year. More news in the NFC. Baker Mayfield, we all know, ever since coming to Tampa Bay, he's resurrected his career. Obviously, wasn't the best in Cleveland. They did go to the playoffs. They ended up losing around in the wild card, I believe, to the Chiefs. And then he was kind of a journeyman. He went to the Panthers, didn't work out there. Went to the Rams, had a few legacy games there, and then got himself in Tampa Bay where he's been great. He's got back-to-back Pro Bowl campaigns in 23 and 24. Um, he's coming off honestly his one of his worst years in Tampa Bay. They started off 6-2, and then they ended up missing the playoffs. He did deal with some injuries, but he's on the last year of his contract, so it's a contract year for Baker Mayfield, and in a division where they could easily win and go to the playoffs. If he has a great year, he can get himself a lot of money because, like I said, but prior to last year, his first couple of seasons in Tampa Bay, I mean, he was phenomenal. I mean, he was playing almost like the number one pick that got him in the league. And so, what does an extension look like for him? Who knows? How long will it be? I mean, it's just he's played great, but it's a big contract year, so a lot of people are expecting a big year out of Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, I think Baker will have a better year this year, even losing Mike Evans,
Like
because he's got some young talented receivers there, and then he's got Godwin, so and a great tight end. I'm blowing a blank right now on tight end, but they have a great tight end out there too. So Baker, I think Baker deserves an extension. I wouldn't give him a 4 year, maybe a 2 with an option with the 3, because he's played great for Tampa Bay. He's actually helped them a lot. He's resurrected his career. I think he's resurrected Tampa Bay as well because they haven't been good prior to him being there for a couple of years. So,
well, they had Tom Brady.
Well, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
but that was one season, so you can't really count that. One season. I mean, yeah, they won the Super Bowl. Yeah, you're right. But after that, I mean, and before that, they really didn't do anything. So I think he deserves it. He's like I said, he's resurrected his career there, coming from I believe the Rams.
Yeah.
So I think that I think he deserves it, a 2 year. The problem is 2 years. What's it gonna be? I mean,
yep. Salary cap
I'm
goes up
guessing
every
he's
year.
gonna want at least probably 60 million. So that's a lot of money for a 2 year deal. He's probably gonna want like 30 million this season. I'm assuming. It's just a guess, but I do believe he deserves an extension. He's played great. He's I don't like the contract year like you're saying because it's every year is a contract year in the NFL. And anything can happen, and then you could blow your knee, and then like you could look at Zach Ertz right now. Trying to figure out what he's gonna do. So Baker's done really well for Tampa Bay, and I believe that they'll give him extension.
Yeah, I mean he's only 31, so kind of getting up in there in age, like you said. I don't know if a 4 year. I don't know if Tampa Bay's willing to go in for 4 years. I see more like of 3 years. As of numbers wise, you say he's probably gonna look for 60. I mean, I've always had the argument where quarterbacks should take less money so the team has more money to spend elsewhere so they could win. I think I mean, like you said, it's going to be dependent on how he does this year. I think somewhere between like I think 50 to 60 is probably what he'll get. And so obviously, like you said, we said much earned after, the kind of rough start to his career. And then, like I said, he became a journeyman and now he's found a home in Tampa Bay. And like you said, he's kind of brought them back after, Tom Brady ended up retiring. So we'll see. But like you said, I like what you said. Every year's a contract year, right? You can't just be good, be bad, and then have one great year and then boom, get a big contract. Um, but moving on, Charles Omenihu, um, defensive end for or I believe he's former defensive end for the Chiefs. I'm pretty sure he's on the Commanders now. He said that defenses have figured out Lamar Jackson, um, but they haven't figured out Josh Allen. Um, and that to me is just I don't know. I mean, it was a few years ago, 2 years ago, 2025. No, yeah, 2025, right? Josh Allen won MVP. He won it over Lamar. Did I think he deserved it over Lamar? Nah, I don't. I think Lamar should have won his third MVP. But before that, Lamar's a two-time MVP. I know he was not great this year. This year was, they missed the playoffs. They were really close. Wasn't that great. But to say that defenses have figured him out, I just can't see it. I mean, he's just so versatile. He's so agile. He could get out of the pocket, scramble for a 60-yard touchdown. I mean, to me, you can't really scheme against him. I know his receivers haven't been the best. I know he's losing a lot of offensive targets this upcoming season. But to say that they figured him out, I don't know. And he says Josh Allen would win a title with the Ravens. That's great question. But then again, we just saw Josh Allen fumble away the game in Denver. Like literally, he fumbled the game away against Denver. Like I said it before. I said he was as great as Josh Allen was in that game in Denver. He was also the biggest reason they lost. And so Josh Allen in Baltimore, could they win a title? Yes, that's the same. That's the same question of with Lamar. They could still win a title, but saying that defenses have figured out Lamar, not Josh Allen, I don't think either quarterback has been figured out just because of how explosive and great they are. They can make plays that you won't expect other players to make. They do things that defenses don't expect. So to say that they figured him out, I think it's an exaggeration because unless he's throwing multiple picks a game, you can't say he's been figured out.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I was actually going to start off where neither quarterback has been figured out. There's just no way that. I mean, Lamar Jackson, yeah, his passing it could be more accurate. I think so. That's just my opinion. He could definitely be more accurate. But to figure him out, there's just no. Charles Omenihu, he was on the Niners. He did great, and that's how he went to the Chiefs, won the Super Bowl there. But I mean, for him to say that, it's like, no, you have not figured out Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson I think he has back-to-back MVPs, if I'm correct. I could be wrong. And like you said, I agree with you on the other thing where you said that Josh Allen got it over him. I agree. If I remember correctly, I think that year was it last year? I think Lamar Jackson had 4 picks only. So
Yeah, he had less picks than Allen, and he had more touchdowns than
yes,
Allen. And I believe he had
yeah. So
total more yardage. So he basically beat Allen in every category. Both teams went to the playoffs. Neither won the Super Bowl. So yeah, it's
yeah,
tough.
and
I
I,
mean,
and I go ahead.
okay, yeah. But many who said, he said, like I said, I think people have figured out Lamar. When you come after him, and you close all the lanes, you 5-man put rush him, and you cover all of his guys, you get it done. But that's with every quarterback. If you freaking collapse the pocket and everyone's covered, no quarterback is gonna be getting a completion or making a play out of that. Not normally. I mean that happens with every quarterback. You collapse the pocket and all of his guys are covered. And of course nothing's gonna get done. But that's not saying he's figured out. That's just plays that happen in the game. And so like you said, I mean, I don't think, like I said, unless quarterbacks are throwing multiple picks and when I think of being figured out, I think of the 2002 Super Bowl of the Raiders and the Bucks, where the Bucks knew what the plays the Raiders were doing, and MVP Rich Gannon was through 4 picks in the Super Bowl. I mean, that's when I think of figured out. That's figured out. They knew what the Raiders were doing. And they were just jumping every pass, and so that's figured out. But to say Lamar as a player is figured out. It's a dumb take. It's a dumb take by Charles Omenihu.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I agree 100%. I mean, there's no way they figured him out. I mean, you're gonna see him come out, firing, running. I mean, he has a great offensive line. He's got, you're right. He doesn't have the weapons, that he should have. But that's on the Ravens ownership and GM. That they should be getting them these weapons. You know what I mean? Why didn't they go after Mike Evans? He could have used Mike Evans. I mean, I'm just saying, and I know Mike Evans isn't in his prime no more, but there were some receivers out there that he could have went after, and they could trade for AJ Brown. Well, why not go trade for AJ Brown? I'm hearing rumors about AJ Brown, so why wouldn't the Ravens go after him? I mean, that'd be a great addition for Lamar Jackson, and it's just to say that if Josh Allen was on the Ravens, he would win the Super Bowl. I don't believe that. I mean, like you said, he cost them the game. As great as he did against Denver, he also cost them the game. So, I mean, the plays, if it said it for himself. You know what I mean? Yeah, he had a great, amazing game against Denver, but the play that stuck with is gonna stick with him. Is turning the ball over. So. I agree with you on that one. I just don't think that they figured neither of those quarterbacks out.
Yeah, so you talk about, Ravens front office, getting a weapon to Lamar. They could have done this. Packers traded wide receiver Dontavian Wicks, who's I think is a phenomenal receiver. That's a wide receiver 3, to the Eagles for a day 3 draft pick. I mean, shout out to Howie Roseman. He's obviously got Devontae Smith, AJ Brown. When they made before he would trade for like a great third wide receiver. This is his guy this year, Dontavian Wicks. Last year, I'm blanking on the former first rounder that they had on the team, but yeah, I mean, like, there's guys out there. Guys probably they're still out there. I know Stephon Diggs has been linked with the Ravens. I mean, the free agency, happened. Receivers he could still trade out for guys, but not doing the things for your quarterback it's tough stuff. I mean, you got back, like you said, multi-time MVP quarterback, and you're not helping him. In a situation where in the playoff games they lose, it's because offensively they just can't get it done. I mean, when they lost to the Chiefs, I know had a chance to win, and then um, that was Rashad Bateman. Blanking on Zay Flowers fumbled right at the goal line, and so it's tough. But that's on the ownership. But yeah, Lamar Jackson doesn't figure it out. But moving on to it's this is interesting. Me and my buddies were arguing over this. Everyone says you don't lose a game off of one play, right? It's the philosophy. Coaches say, and I understand that, right? Multiple play, you don't lose off one play, right? It takes a multiple of plays and a lot of things that, end up going to a loss. But we were debating about the NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Seahawks, right? And a close battle all throughout. Me and my buddy, we were saying, we understand the logic of, like, right, not one play loses you a game, but in this scenario, the fumbled punt by the Rams cost them the game. And it's true. I mean, if you look at the stats, there was only one turnover, and that was the one turnover. It was that one fumble. Time of possession was nearly identical. Rams had it for 28 minutes. Seattle had it for 31. Red zone, they each only didn't convert one red zone attempt. I mean, this game, both teams were nearly perfect in this game. And it was a 14-point flip. I mean, at the time, I believe it was 17-14. I believe Rams were down by 3. And this fumbled punt led them to going down 10. And after that, they just had to climb back. And I know they had a chance to win in the fourth quarter. I know they I believe with like 5 minutes left, they had a chance in the red zone to score and take the lead. But I mean, if that fumble doesn't happen, I know it's a big if, but that fumble truly lost them the game. And I just, it's something we were arguing about, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it because I know you're not a fan of either team, and neither am I. So that's why I thought it was a good thing to point out.
Definitely not a fan of either team. But I would definitely say, how I feel about that is that, yeah, the Rams had a chance to win it at the end. The fumble was a big turnover, and like you said, it was only a turnover of the game, so obviously it's a big one. I thought that the game changed. I can't think of his name. The cornerback that signed elsewhere now got a big contract.
Yeah.
Yes. When he did the stare down or whatever he did, I forgot what he did. It was 3rd and long, whatever. They stopped him. It was going to be 4th down, and then he got a flag. And then that's when the Rams came back and started scoring. And that, like you said, one play doesn't cost people the game, but it does. And that could have cost the Seahawks the game. If the Rams come back and win the game, we're talking about that play because that's what brought the Rams back, because then the Rams got the first down and they went down the field and scored a touchdown. So, and it's just like you said, it's hard to talk about that game because I do not like either team. But to say that the Rams still had a chance to win it, even with that turnover, and like you said, all the stats were pretty much identical. So it was pretty much either team was going to the Super Bowl, and either team was going to win the Super Bowl. Whether it was going to be the Rams or the Seahawks, NFC was going to win that Super Bowl. It's just that. Go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, either team they were beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. But like you said, it was perfectly even. I mean, like Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold, they were head to head. Almost everything was just head to head. Like It was just that's how close it was. Um, it's funny I brought up. I said if you ask Sean McVay, they say he had a press conference, and if you asked him that question about the fumble if it cost him the game, obviously he's gonna say no. But if you put him on the lie detector test, you're not saying that in his mind he's thinking that fumble lost us the game, knowing the outcome that they lost by 4. I mean, I thought that was funny when I brought it up to my buddies because I mean it's tough, like you said. It was just in a head to head game, phenomenal game. Both
Mhm.
quarterbacks played their hearts out. Both teams played their hearts out. I did say that the Rams defense didn't really show up, because they didn't force a turnover on Sam Darnold. But I mean, it was a close game, and I just I understand the concept of one play doesn't lose you the game, but in this instance, I believe this fumbled punt cost the Rams the game.
Yeah, I
But
agree with you. I mean, yeah.
it's tough. It's tough because obviously they had many chances, like you said. But I like the point you brought up. If the say the Rams came back and they did win, but then we're not talking about the fumble punt. We're talking about the 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty on Tariq Woolen. I think that's a great response to that question. But I'll get a post out on that. We'll get the thoughts of the people. But moving on to the NBA. It's playing and playoffs. We two games are on today. Right now, the Suns and the Trailblazers are playing. It's the 7 and 8 seeds are playing. So winner of these games are the 7th seed. We had one that just finished. Went to overtime actually. It was the Heat and the Hornets. Right? These are the 7th and 8th. No, maybe
No, they're
it's
the nine
not.
ten in the East.
Yeah, okay. So I don't know why they did it like that, but yeah, the 9 to 10 seeds played today. It was the Heats and the Hornets. Hornets came out on top 127, 126 in OT. Shout out the Hornets. I mean, they weren't looking like they were gonna Bam Adebayo must have gotten injured because he only played 11 minutes.
Yes, he did get
But
injured.
he did? Got it. But yeah, shout out the Hornets. I mean, they were at first not even a playing team, and then they won like 11 straight, got themselves within the tournament, and Colin Kneppel looking like rookie of the year. LaMelo Ball's been playing great. I mean, LaMelo Ball just dropped 30. Miles Bridges dropped 28. Colin Kneppel only dropped 6. Oof. But yeah, I mean, very close game. Charlotte Hornets are moving on to face the winner or the loser of the Magic and the 76ers. So when this episode comes out, the Magic and the 76ers will be playing on Wednesday. But right now we have the Suns and the Trailblazers. Right now the Suns are up 13-7. My money's on the Suns. I just think they're not a phenomenal team, but they've been a good enough team where I think they could beat the Trailblazers. So I got the Suns beating the Trailblazers. And for tomorrow with the Magic and the 76ers, I believe Embiid is not playing. I know he's dealing with some sort of injury, but the Magic, I don't know. I've been iffy on the Magic. Have been iffy. I thought they would have been a lot better this year, considering how they were last year. But I think I'm gonna go with the Magic. I got the Magic beating the 76ers. I have the Suns beating the Trailblazers today, and tomorrow I obviously got to go with the Golden State Warriors just because of my team. I think they're gonna win. I don't know. Curry, Horford, and Porzingis are all gonna be in a minute restrictions. Kerr said none of them will play 40 minutes, which is understandable. They're all coming off of injuries, and it's not like it's Game 7. Obviously, it's the play-in, so obviously they're trying to get into the playoffs, but it's nothing to like be overly stressed about. So I'm gonna go with the Warriors, obviously because they're my team, and I think the Warriors could also beat the Trailblazers to get into the 8th seed and face the Thunder round 1. Um, so those are my predictions for this play-in. What do you got?
Um, well, I got the Trailblazers beating the Suns.
Okay,
I think that Drew Holiday and I can't even say his name, Danny
Danny idea?
Avdija. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he's been playing lights out. Last 10 games he's averaging 24 and a half points a game. So he's been playing very, very good. I just don't think the Suns can pull it out, but obviously they're winning right now. But I'm still thinking the Trailblazers are going to win. Um, yeah, with the Charlotte game, they were talking about this replay that should have happened that didn't happen when Bayou got hurt. Lamelo grabbed his ankle when they were falling down, and that's
Mm.
how he fell and hurt himself, and then come back the rest of the game. So maybe Lamelo should have been ejected. Who knows? But it didn't happen. So
Hey, if Draymond did it, he would have got ejected and suspended.
that's right. So congrats to Charlotte for beating them. And I like the Magic. I like the Magic also. I like I like what's his name?
Bankero.
Banquero, Jalen Suggs, and Wagner. They drafted all three of those guys. It's like a big three for them. But when they drafted, and just like it's like a they can be obviously not comparing Steph and Clay, but they have the talent to be a three like that with Draymond. So I do like them. I think they're gonna beat them. I see them gonna be in the the eight the beating Charlotte and possibly being that or no, they'll be the seventh seed. So yeah, I see them being the seventh
Yeah.
seed. I don't see them being the Celtics though. This year they're not playing well, so I don't like it. Like you said, they've been playing good the past couple of years, and they've been not even in the play, and they've been a six seed or 4 or 5 seed. So they just haven't been playing good this year. So I don't see them going anywhere. And obviously with the Warriors, I gotta take the Warriors as well. I think they are going to beat the Clippers. Um, and I know Kerr said they're not going to play 40 minutes, which I know they're not, but I know they're going to play close to it. I believe.
They'll
I
play.
believe
They'll
Kerr's
play
going to
like
play.
38,
Yeah, yeah. So
and that's all
we'll
you
just
need.
say four. Yeah. So if we're seeing this, Horford probably won't play 40, but I think Draymond's got to shut down Kawhi because we don't really have any other defender that's going to shut him down. So it's going to have to be Draymond. But if we shut down Kawhi, I think we'll be fine. As long as the guys make their buckets. I know they didn't play good the other night when they played them, but Draymond didn't play. It would be needed to Kawhi, but it was just a throwaway game. Because they knew they were going to play each other Wednesday night. So I like the Warriors. And the Warriors couldn't beat the Trailblazers, even though they haven't done it well this year.
Yeah.
Um, so for some reason the Trailblazers have the Warriors number, but you know what? I don't think we have Porzingis for that. And so I think Porzingis is the key to getting in as a 8 seed. Um, we're not going to beat OKC. We're not going to take them 7 games. We'll probably lose in 5, maybe 6 if we're lucky. But
I
yeah,
think.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's tough, right? With Steph Curry, I believe you always got a shot. But yeah, it's gonna be tough beating them 1 seed Thunder. But as of the Warriors versus Clippers, I think win or lose, it don't matter. Kawhi's coming to the Bay, so that's all that matters. That's been a talk of recent is Kawhi heading to the Warriors next season. But as of Charlotte, if Charlotte plays the 76ers for the 8 seed, who do you think wins that?
The way I watched Charlotte tonight, Charlotte looked good. The way Charlotte's playing, I would think that Charlotte would win. But it's a 1 game thing. It's a 1 game player, so it's hard to say. Who's gonna win. But I do like uh the Magic to beat Charlotte. But you know what? Charlotte's playing great, so it's hard to say. I like the Magic a lot. I like Banquero. He's a great player. He's lights out. And then the other guy, uh, Franz Wagner, man, that guy's. I never heard of that guy, man. That guy plays great basketball, man. He's good. He's very, very good. So that duo right there, and then with the Suggs, they can win. It's just a matter if they show up.
Yeah, yeah. Moving on to the set rounds that we got. We already have some, games or some series that are already set. We have Raptors Cavs. To me, that's an interesting series. Obviously, Cavs made the big trade for James Harden, but the Raptors have been such a team that was good, but you didn't hear nothing about them. You didn't hear any media coverage about the Raptors. I'm pretty sure this is the third and the sixth seed, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong. This might be the fourth and the fifth seed. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
the
I think
fourth and
it's
the
the
fifth
fourth,
seed.
fifth.
Yeah. So obviously this series is it's kind of a coin toss, but I think I'm gonna go with Toronto. I mean, like I said, you didn't hear much about them, but they've had such a good year, and it kind of surprised me that NBA and the media hasn't talked about them as much because obviously they got the talent. I know they got Scotty Barnes, and to be honest, it's all I really know. I know they have Grady Dick, but I mean, I just don't really know this Toronto. I mean, they're Brandon Ingram, RJ Barry, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Poeltl. So they have a pretty good squad. Um, and like I said, they just haven't gotten any coverage on them. And I think they could. I know that the Cavs have a great squad, right? They have I almost said Darius Garland. They have James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. That's a great, and then Max Strus. That's a great starting five. You kind of have a little bit of everything. And so I know they have a great starting five, but I feel like the Raptors, they have that underdog mentality, and I think they're the team that I think they could upset.
Yeah, I'm going with Cleveland on that one. I think Cleveland's going to win. It's going to be a great series. Toronto is good. It's just that I don't know, like you said, the starting five that Cleveland has, it's a great starting five. Um, their center is Allen. That guy's great. He's good. So I really like him a lot, and I think it's going to be up to him to see how far Cleveland can go. Because I think they can score the ball. Obviously, it's just a matter of defense and rebounding
Defense.
and what they can do. But he
Well,
is
they do
the
have the
heart.
defensive. They have the former defensive player of the year, Evan Mobley. So, um, I don't know if defense is going to be a problem for them,
Yeah, I
but
mean, it shouldn't be, but you never know. I mean, we'll
that's true.
see. I mean, and then like I said, on the 3-6, the Knicks, I just think the Knicks are going to beat the Hawks. Like I said
Yeah,
last time we talked.
yeah.
So,
I think
I
I think the Hawks will give them a good battle though. I don't think the Hawks are gonna go in four. I think they could probably take them six. Hawks another team that they've been really good under the radar. A lot of young talent. That means a lot of inexperience, and this Knicks team is full of experience. Obviously, not to the championship or the finals, but they have a lot of experience. And yeah, I think the Knicks will take the Hawks probably around 6 games. We're in 6 games because the Hawks would give the Knicks a little run for their money. But yeah, I think the Knicks beat the Hawks as well. Um, and then another matchup that we kind of get almost every year is it's the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. It's a matchup, like I said, we get almost every year, and it's been back and forth. The Nuggets have won, the Timberwolves have won. For me, it's it's tough, right? Because every year it seems like Anthony Edwards, the first two series, or not just Anthony, the Timberwolves in general, in the first two series, they're like the best basketball team in the playoffs, and then it comes to like the conference championship, and they're out of gas. But then again, on the other side, you have the former champs and the Nuggets and Jokic, the MVP. Um, but it's tough. I mean, because these teams kind of like they're like the way their teams are set up. It's kind of like they're really evenly matched. So I think for me, I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves. I think I love watching the Ant Man play. Um, and so I think he'll turn up, and I think the series will probably go the distance. I think this is a 7 game series in round one. But I'll take the underdogs, and I'll go with the Timberwolves.
like Ant-Man a lot. Um, I just don't know if he can get past the Nuggets. I agree it's going to go 7 games. I think Denver's going to win in 7. Um, but Minnesota could win in 7. So it's like you said, it's a toss up. It's hard. It's they always go out every year. So like you said, it's very tough. This series is probably going to be the best series in the first round. I thought it was going to be the Lakers Rockets. Not anymore. We'll get to that one, but definitely think that Denver's going to win in 7. But I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota won in 7.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be a good matchup. And the first matchup that I ever locked in, it's Rockets Lakers, and for me, this is an easy pick. With a healthy Lakers team would have won, I think. Unfortunately, they are not a healthy Lakers team. I got to go with the Rockets. Kevin Durant, Amin Thompson, Sengun. I think that's a lot of offense and defense for a Lakers team that's not gonna have Luca. Well, I don't know. They might have Luca. Who knows? He's come back from Europe with the hope of playing without Austin Reeves. I mean, you're gonna have to rely on 41-year-old LeBron. I just think it's not gonna happen. This Rockets team is really physical. We saw it last year when they played the Warriors. Um, and they added Kevin Durant in the offseason, so they got offense too. And Amin Thompson just recently dropped a 40-point game, which I couldn't believe because I know he's not that great offensively. But yeah, for me, this is a Rockets. Rocket team's gonna take him in, and if I'll be nice, they'll take him in a gentleman sweep in 5.
Well, I won't be nice because I have a feeling they're going to get swept. Just like you said, without Luca and Reeves, LeBron is not gonna. He's not gonna put even if he put up 50 a game, honestly, which he's not going to. But even if he did, they're not gonna win a game. Like you said, this Rockets team, it's really good. Ahmed Thompson, Shingun, and Who was the other guy you mentioned?
Uh,
Durant. How can I forget Durant?
Durant, yeah.
We're talking about Durant. So all three of those guys have great defense, and they all can score.
I don't know
Well,
about
I mean,
Singer. So the game doesn't have good defense, but Durant and
and Ahmed
and Thompson
Thompson.
have, yeah, they have great
Yeah,
defense, and then they just have size. I mean, freaking
they do.
what's his name? Jabari Parker. No, Jabari Smith. I think
Yeah,
it's, yeah.
Jabari Smith.
He's like 6'10". He's a sharpshooter. He's a 3-and-D type of guy. I'm forgetting on their starting point guard. I know they have Fred VanVleet, but he's out for the year. But yeah, they have a
Mm-hmm.
lot. They have good depth and they have good size. I know they have. I believe they have Josh Okogie too. And so, um, yeah, it's gonna be, if it would have to be a miracle, I think, for Luca and Austin Reeves to come back. I mean, we saw it last year. I mean, Steph Curry left the Timberwolves series with the hamstring injury, and there was thoughts that if they could force a game, I believe 6, that he would come back. Obviously, it didn't happen. But it's just, yeah, I think hamstring injuries are just so tedious that I just don't see Luca coming back in time. And so it's unfortunate for the Lakers. Luca was playing like an MVP, even though he's not eligible. Um, but yeah, that's a series that the Rockets are going to take. They're going to move on. They're lucky they don't have to face Steph Curry in the first round. But moving on to our award predictions, obviously the MVP, Defensive Player of the Year. We might not go through all of them, but for MVP, for me, I think MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, it's got to go to the same player. I think it's got to go to Victor Wembanyama. I mean, he's eligible. He's averaging 25, 11, and 3. I mean, he's just been phenomenal. It's hard to I think it's hard to pick against him. Um, I mean, he was just phenomenal. He had 1 steal. He was averaging three blocks a game. I mean, it's tough. You couldn't even attack this guy. I mean, the only guy that was able to put up points on him is the greatest point guard of all time. That was Steph Curry. But yeah, he's just been so great both sides of the ball. I mean, you saw the difference when he was out and when he was in. Now they were winning games when he was out with injury, but when they played the Thunder, I want to say in the playing tournament, he was on a minutes restriction, but every time he was on the court, they were winning. They would be down, he would come in, they would take the lead. And he just had such a big impact in a fully, not healthy year, but in a year where um he's gonna I think he's gonna take both awards.
Yeah, I mean, last time we discussed this, I had Luca, and like you said, he's not eligible anymore. So it's Wemby. No doubt about it. I mean, there's no one else who's played phenomenal like he has. Like you said, it counts where the minutes off the court is a big thing too. I watched him play against the Warriors a couple times, and when he was off the court, Warriors lit him up. When he was on the court, it was hard to score. I'm not gonna lie. He's a great defender, and he can score. He's good. He's a great player. He's gonna be a great player in the NBA for a long time. And now it has to be Wemby as the MVP, Defense Player of the Year. It, you know, it, it's got to be Wemby. I mean, there's really no one
It's
else out there that's
Yeah.
doing defensive plays like him right now this year. So it's hard to argue with anyone else about. There is great defenders out there, like we just talked about Josh Allen, Ben Thompson. There's great defenders out there, but they did, in my opinion, this year they didn't shine like Wemby did. So I would definitely give both those awards to both of them to him.
Yeah, and for MVP, I mean, there's other guys. Obviously, SGA, he has been great. Jaylen Brown was great. Obviously, the Joker, he's always up there for conversation. But I think, when you look at the Spurs, I mean, they're the second seed in the West. They won 60 games, and like I said, in an almost fully healthy season of Wembanyama, I mean, he didn't disappoint. I mean, he was dropping like 40-point games. He was just phenomenal, and I think obviously there's probably it's gonna be a vote. He's not gonna win unanimously. No one's gonna win it unanimously ever again. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, there will be obviously I think yeah, it's gonna be between. I think the votes will be between Jaylen Brown, SGA, Joker, and Wembanyama. But I think Wembanyama he's my guy. He's got my vote. My vote don't really matter. But he's got my pick for MVP, and like you said, defensive player of the year. I think there's a lot of obviously great defensive players, but they just didn't shine like Wemby, and I think that's just how it is. But before we move on from basketball, Brandon Pajemski dropped 30 points. I don't know if you've seen all
Hmm.
the funny rumors, or not the rumors, but the funny memes about him not dropping 30. But he finally dropped 30 against the Kings about the other night, like a week ago. They didn't win, but he dropped 30 points. People could stop making fun of him because honestly, um, I want to say it's because I took a picture with him, but he's been playing really good basketball for the last probably 2 months of the season. Averaging, I want to say the last 20 games, he's been averaging about 19 points per game, shooting about 93% from free throw. I mean, he's been really good for the Warriors in a season where they didn't have Steph Curry majority, lost a lot of players. I mean, Brandon Pajemski deserves some praise. He plays all 82 games, and he's due for a contract extension. So just thought I'd bring up Brandon Pajemski.
Yeah, I like Brandon Pajemski, so I talked about him before when he came down in February, and you were kind of like, I don't know about him. And he also said, we should make the trade for the Greek, get rid of him and trade. And I didn't like that. I said, we could just give up 4 first rounds. I was actually rather at the time I was thinking of getting rid of Draymond. And that's who I wanted to get rid of. And I wanted to keep Hodge because he's the future. He's 22, 23 years old. He's going to replace Steph, not replace Steph, but, as
Yeah,
point guard, that's where he's going to be. He's the future of the Warriors. So I like him. He's left-handed, so he plays good. He's got that Euro step. He plays, I think he's like third or fourth in offensive fouls where he
yeah. No,
takes
he's
the
second in
charge.
taking charge. He's second in
Yeah,
charge
second
taken.
taking the
He led
charge.
it
So
in
he's
he led it his rookie year.
yeah,
But
so
yeah,
he's
he
up
puts
there
his
on
body
that.
on the
He
line.
does good, and I really like him a lot. And if I remember, I think the stat was only 19 players this year in the whole NBA played all 82 games, and he was one of them. So you got to give the guy credit when the credit's due, and yeah, he finally got 30 points, but not everyone could say they scored 20 points in the NBA. So to score 30, that's a phenomenal thing for him. So I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he's played amazing the past the end of the season. But moving on to baseball standings updates. We'll just give a quick rundown in the AL East. Yankees, they lead. They're 9-7, although they have lost. They're 4-6 in the last 10. The Rays are 8-7. They've been great. Same with the Orioles, and then the Blue Jays and the Red Sox haven't been like they were last year. The AL Central, Guardians and the Twins both 10-7. Tigers are third place at 8-9, and then there's the Royals and the White Sox. In the AL West, the Rangers lead at 9-7. A's are 8-8. They're second place. Angels are 8-9. Mariners are 8-9, and the Astros are 6-11. We'll talk about the Astros because they're missing a lot of guys. In the National League, Braves are 11-7. They are looking great. Marlins 9-9. Phillies 8-9, and the Mets and the Nationals are 7-9 and 7-10. Pirates and the Reds have been a surprising team in the NL Central. Pirates are 10-6, Reds are 10-7, Brewers 8-7, and then the Cardinals and the Cubs are both at 8 wins and about 8-9 losses. In the NL West, we have the best team in baseball, Dodgers. They're obviously best record. They're 12-4. Followed by the Padres, who are 10-6, and they started off the season 1-4. Diamondbacks are 10-8. Rockies are 6-10, and the Giants are 6-11. So rough start for the Giants, but moving on, but injuries in baseball. But I guess talk about the Astros. They're missing a lot of guys. Hunter Brown, grade 2 shoulder strain. Um, Jeremy Pena, grade 1 hamstring. And the starting pitcher that they got from Japan, Tatsuya Imai, right arm fatigue. And obviously Josh Hader, he's got left bicep tendonitis. I mean, they're just missing a lot of guys, and it's showing up. They're not winning games. They got swept by the Rockies. Um, and so, yeah, just the injury bugs hitting the Astros pretty well. As for the Padres, their ace, quote unquote ace, Nick Pivetta, he lands on the injured list with elbow inflammation. Um, Christian Yelich, he's on the IL. I mean, a lot of injuries going around. In baseball, Brent Rooker for the A's, he ended up on IL. And so, yeah, injuries are going around the league, and teams are having to call up guys, and It's pretty early for barely about 2 weeks into the season, and teams are feeling it already.
Yeah, it's not good, especially when you got another 150 more to go. So there's a lot of games to go, and to feel it now, and it's hard. I mean, a lot of teams aren't doing too well that should be doing well, and it happens. It's a long season, so it's just part of the game, especially in baseball. So there's nothing that you can do about it. The Yankees, like you said, they're in first place. The Yankees are the Yankees, so of course they're going to be in first. I'm surprised right now with the Arizona Diamondbacks right now, 10-8. They're looking pretty good. And them and the Padres are right there, right behind the Dodgers. So they better watch out. And right now, the only thing I can say, good thing I can say for the Giants is hopefully their bat start stepping up. And I mean, they need to make a trade for a pitcher, another starting pitcher, a couple of relievers. Eventually, once that trade deadline gets closer, obviously we're far from that, but I mean, right now they're one of the worst teams in the league at 6-11. Nothing to say about them. They keep losing. They lost to the Reds today, I believe 2-1. So it's just playing
Same
bad. The only
story
good thing with
every
them,
year.
yeah, the only good thing for them is they don't have injuries. So I mean, we'll see what happens. I wanted to mention the ABS with the Dodgers catcher, Will Smith, is so far. Last I checked, which was last week, he's 100% on his
Oh, wow.
challenges. So
Yeah, I'm glad
it's
you brought that up. I wanted to talk about ABS. I think it's great. I think it's great for the game. However, I would like ABS on check swings. And I obviously umpires can still call a check swing or not, right? If it's a strike, if they went or they didn't. But I think players should be able to challenge that as well. Because sometimes, like if I think of, Wilmer Flores in the 2021 playoffs against the Dodgers, the game ended on a check swing. I mean, that kind of sucks. So I think ABS is great. I know sometimes it's a little tedious when it's like point one, it barely touches the strike zone and it's a strike, or it's barely a ball. I think that's a little tedious, but I think it's still great. But I'd like ABS to also be on check swings.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll get there. I wouldn't doubt it. Maybe they'll add that in next year. That I'm sure. I know this was a like a tester run this year. I know it's been in the minor leagues for the past couple of years. And like I said, they still have the umpires, so it works out great. I like the ABS. Like you said, the challenges. It's good for the game. It's really quick too, so it's not like it takes forever. So I do like that. Um, like you said, it is kind of tedious, but that's how a computer is. It's very tedious. So that it's going to be the same way with the check swing. It can only be
Yeah,
this far, and once it hits this passes this part, it's done. So,
yeah.
just got to remember that it's going to be tedious as well. But you know what? I do agree that it should have check screens. I mean, I don't see why they won't do it. It's working right now with the baseball right now the way it is, and I like the ABS. It's great. It's great for the game.
Yes, it really is. I think it's one of the good additions. But to end us off, I know you want to talk some hockey, so I'll let you get into that.
Oh, I just wanted to bring up the Sharks. They won last night against the Predators, Nashville Predators, and they're looking good. I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs. They're still fighting
I
for the playoff
I
hopes.
believe they missed the playoffs. I believe I saw that that
Yeah, so
post.
but you know what? Celebrini had two goals. One was empty netter against Nashville, and that's his 30-point multi game this season. And he tied Patrick Marleau and Owen Nolan. And there was only one guy ahead of him, and Jonathan Chichu. He had 56 point multiple tie point games. So, but all I wanted to mention was Celebrini's 19. Their left winger Igor Chernov is 20, and Colin Graff's 23, and that's their big three that they
What about
drafted,
Will
and they're all
Smith?
young. Huh?
Don't they have Will Smith?
They have Will Smith as well. I think he's 22. So they have a young core right now, and they're up and coming. And I know Celebrini's playing lights out. This year he's playing lights out. Uh, I'm trying to think of the record that he's close to breaking. Wayne Gretzky's record. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's a record that Wayne Gretzky holds, and that's all that matters to me. So that says that he's talented, and he's only 19. He's still a kid. So he's your age, Drewski. So,
Yeah, I don't watch hockey, but obviously, they're the Bay Area team, so I hear stuff about them. Yeah, no, they have a great young core. I believe they won more games this year than last year, so they're on the come up,
hmm
right? I know, I
hmm
believe SAP Center it's getting upgrades, right? Because I think they signed an extension to stay in San Jose, so they'll get like a nicer stadium. But like you said, they have a great young core. Celebrini, shout out his dad. He's a great medical staff for the Warriors. But Macklin Celebrini has been phenomenal for the Sharks, and they could be in the playoffs next year. I mean, like you said, they got a great young core. Celebrini, he's putting up points almost every night. He's just been phenomenal. So Sharks future is bright, but this year they won't be in the playoffs. But that's okay. There's always next year. But that is all for today. Thank you all for tuning in. I'd like to thank my Uncle Joe for joining me today. We get episodes out every Wednesday. I try to get them out before 2 o'clock. But I episodes out every Wednesday. I'll get posts out. Sometimes you get my post reactions on trades or big news and whatnot. Don't forget we're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. And until next time, stay ready.